I'd say every broker says the same thing, which is actually do, and then the ones that actually don't. But when you actually do care, you have the pressure of those families on your shoulders, and it does weigh heavy
Absolutely.
because you legitimately care. It's like family. Now, if you don't care and you're a psychopath, like it really doesn't bother you because you're only there for money. But when you really care, like it's something that really bothers you. And I think about, I don't have kids, I don't have families, so this is like my family. So I'm always like ready to go war. Someone fights, someone messes with them. What can I do to help them? How can I make their future better? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. We have an incredible guest on the podcast today. Bryan Knisley is on the call. He's a recent Wolfpack leader here. He's coming up quickly, making some big noise, but he was in a dark place, just like a lot of broker owners are in a dark place right now. Now, if you're a broker owner of an independent brokerage, it can be very lonely, kind of like a lone wolf. And a lot of partners are coming over here right now, moving away from that old model to the new model, working with us here at eXp Realty. It's a global model. We're going to talk about lots of different things: risk mitigation, capital allocation, management avoidance, all sorts of problems that traditional independent brokers deal with. But we have someone on here that was in that dark place. So Bryan's on here today, guys. Let me kind of give you a little bit of his rap. 20 years in the business, KW team leader, super high level real estate investor. We're going to have him back on to talk about different, all sorts of high level investment strategies he's been doing, working with hedge funds. That's going to have to be a different call, guys. So be patient. We're going to get it back on here. But today we're going to be talking about independent brokerages, the struggles that they have, why you see so many hundreds of them a year moving to eXp Realty, what we can do here to help you guys and move you from the dark place to the spot of light. And we're going to go into it in detail. So Bryan, I know time's not free, so thank you for coming on here. Grateful to have you on here and tell your story. But maybe kind of give a quick rundown. I kind of touched on a little bit. How did you kind of get to where you got to now? And then maybe get some of the problems and struggles that you had as a broker, kind of where you're at with your mindset and why you were in such a dark place and why you decided to make this decision. And then let's go into some of the things that you've experienced here on the backside now that you're over here that has really kind of changed your mentality on the business and brought the excitement back.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. Appreciate it. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I appreciate it, man. And I've got such a story to tell. I really do. And I've got a lot to talk about. So we definitely have to come back and do it again. But,
Yep.
Just the journey that's led me to where I am today is so many stories to tell throughout that journey. But over 20 years in the business and really just having a passion for the business and having a passion for coaching people. I think that's kind of what led me into going from traditional real estate business to, more of the coaching side and then more of the team building side and then into building my real estate brokerage, which, I think is kind of leading us into that story. But lots has gone into that. There's tons of experience as far as my background in real estate investing and general real estate. It really has led me to a point where now I just want to give back to other people and help grow and build other businesses. And in turn, then, helps in turn, I succeed as well. And that's what led me into building my own independent brokerage, which, that was it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. I've been an entrepreneur for many years. I've built and exited many businesses, and building a real estate brokerage was the hardest thing that I've ever tried to do in my life. It's by far, you know.
Well, let's go into some of these things that you probably experienced there. So you had gotten up there pretty big, actually. It's not easy to build an independent. You were over 30 agents, which is, you're starting to get up in a pretty big size to do that as an individual. How is the difference between what you were doing as an individual independent brokerage different than what you're doing now, as far as the feeling of alone, that no one's coming to save you if there's a problem, everything comes to you, as compared to now you have this big global company, you've got corporate, you got staff, employees, you got the Wolfpack partners, people around you and above you and underneath you, and everybody around sharing, resources and emotion, excitement, goals. Kind of give a comparison of how the difference has been since you transitioned over here, and what the take has been from your side.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm very grateful for finding you and finding the business partners that I have now. Because with you and Mike and Scott and Sean and Garth, all of the business partners that I have now, there's so much leverage in my business, and I feel like I've never been at an organization or a company that comes from such abundance. And that's a really kind of a different feeling, especially in the real estate industry. You normally have your top producers that are, have their own systems and processes, and they're not sharing that with anybody. But with where we're at now and the business partners that I have now, I feel like, I've been freed of that burden and that responsibility of being just on me. Because as an independent broker owner, I think that, as broker owners, we all get into the business because we love helping people and we love building businesses and helping agents build a successful business and changing their life. At least that's why I got into it. And building a team at KW was, it was a lot of fun for me. And we had a lot of success. And then when I transitioned over to the brokerage side, building out the brokerage, all of a sudden everything was on me, and
Right.
I was the lone wolf at that point. And
Yeah.
it was, I had other brokers that I was collaborating with, or I would jump in and ask questions, because really you have to really just jump into the deep end and figure it out yourself. And running an independent brokerage, when you're by yourself, it's all of your agents are, all they can do is basically build off the skill sets of the brokerage, and that was very tough for me. So I would go out and look for all the top trainers and mentors and all of the systems, and be able to really dive into that training, and then be able to repackage and repurpose that training and give it to my agents. And I just couldn't do it at a fast enough pace. And being thrown into the day by day is like, you have all of these goals set for yourself and for your brokerage and for your agents. And for me, it was just every single day I got thrown into, the operational side of things, and
Yeah.
being a therapist, and really just, I couldn't accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish. And then in turn, it really helped. It didn't help my agents get to where they wanted to go. So it's an absolute lone wolf kind of a situation. And it led
Yeah.
me down a dark place. It really did.
Yeah. Well, XP fixed a lot of problems, but even with the rev share business, you're still kind of a therapist. So, so you still got to, anytime you work with people, contractors, anything, you're always dealing with emotions, and everybody's got them. But you and I actually really a lot alike, and I have a lot of respect for you because I know you came up doing a lot of things I did. And, I've run lots of businesses. We're both serial entrepreneurs. It's not just that we just do the agent side. And man, some of these businesses are lonely. I was flipping a bunch of houses. I was the only one doing it. It's me getting crushed by all these contractors, ripping me off. I did, like, late at night coming home. Who do I call? I pick up my phone. I'm like, do I call myself? Right? Like, what do I do
Right.
here? And
Right.
it can be. And here, let's say you don't know AI. You just pick up the phone, call somebody in Wolfpack and ask them a question. You don't know something about social media. Go inside the Facebook group and make a question, or hop on the call, or the next call could be, social media training. So there's a lot of different skill sets that overlap because there's so many different successful, really cool people in the group, and everybody's so open to sharing, because when they share and others share, everybody gets what they want, and we only all have to share a little bit, but we all get a lot out of it. So I think one of the biggest things that I've heard of, and I don't actually never talked to you about this, but a lot of brokers actually come here because either they've had massive litigation issues and they're trying to mitigate risk, or they just had the fear of it and they were one lawsuit away from getting wiped out. And you're seeing brokerage after brokerage after brokerage come to EXP right now. We've got an almost 50 agent brokerage coming right now. We just got a commitment today, actually, for another 50-person brokerage. And with all these big lawsuits out there, and NAR lawsuits and all this type of stuff, you can't defend yourself if you're a small company. Like, there's just no way you can do that. And the fear for brokers right now is at a level I've never seen before, right? And I've been doing this thing for almost going on 6-7 years now here at EXP. Maybe give your take as from the shoes that you're standing in, is to resonate with these other brokers, because I know a lot of them are going to watch this. They're going to be sitting there saying, "That's how I feel." But maybe kind of your take on that, the liability side. What has that done? Is it you sleep better, more risk, or did you ever have any big
Yeah.
issues that impacted the business?
Yes, absolutely. That's always a big factor when you're growing your own business and brokerage, is liability, litigation, all of that. And that lies directly on top of your shoulders as the broker owner. And
Yeah.
for me, and I think it was more of the looking towards the future. I just kept looking towards the future and saying, this is what I asked for, and this is what I wanted, and I'm building something that I was working towards, that I thought looked different than what was turning out in front of me. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not this is not what I started to the business for and get into it for. And so, for as far as the liability aspect, it's 100%. You're always thinking about, I'm 100% responsible for all of these agents, and you can't control what they do and what they're saying to their clients out there. But it was more of just a thinking about the future, and I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so if you are one of those, broker owners out there and you're still in production, you're still trying to train. I think if you're a broker owner and you're less than 50 agents, it's a really tough game right now. I mean, especially
For
over the
sure.
last year, production is way down, and you're struggling and you're suffering. And I know what that feels like because I was there. I was in that dark place. For me,
Yeah.
I was lucky because I've been out of production for probably 7 years now. I have an asset management company, so I have another business that's providing an income. So it allowed me to run full time on the brokerage. But if I didn't have that, I would have to produce and do all the things that I was doing at the brokerage, which would be nearly impossible. You
Yeah.
just can't serve your agents at that point. So then I started looking at it from my perspective of my agents. I mean, this is my family. They have families to feed. So I started thinking about what is the opportunity for them long term, especially if I'm just all of this pressure is coming down on me. And yes, I'd show up with a happy face and I'm all excited and doing my trainings and getting all that. But underneath it all in the background, I was suffering, man. I was really, really struggling in a dark place. And I just said, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I have no other choice. This is my baby. This is what I built, and I'm not going anywhere else. And that's when, again, when I met you guys and I started seeing like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a better way to do this and still
Yep.
keep everything that I wanted to do in the first place. I got to keep my branding. I kept all of my agents. I
Yeah.
was able to now bring in all the leverage that I needed to grow. You have all of the top agents that are teaching today's training and what agents are doing in today's marketplace to go out there and succeed. All of those agents are training, and you don't see that anywhere else. I mean, that was a really big
Yeah.
eye opener for me. I'm like, this is a brilliant business model. It really is. If you think about it, it's like all of the top agents are doing the training. And why are they doing the training? Because they get compensated by the company. And so
That's
now
right.
I looked at it from my agents too. So I made the decision to make the switch. It wasn't just about me, it was about my agents. It's like, what kind of opportunity are they going to have now? And when I really understood what that meant, it's now they have way more opportunity. They're way more engaged. I'm growing faster than I was ever growing before at a rate that's just, as far as percentage wise of bringing on new agents and production, everybody's more engaged and everybody has more opportunity because we all win for the growth because the company compensates you for growth and production. It doesn't come out of my pocket, it doesn't come out of their pocket. So everybody has an incentive to go out there and help this business grow. And I was like, that's what I got into this for. And
That's right.
now I'm able to be able to spend the time with my agents, and I have like this freeing feeling of being able to be free to do what I want to do on a daily basis and help build and grow. And I'm already seeing the results of that in a very short period of time. It's been awesome. It really has.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I always have fun talking to you, and you're always plugged in and running hard. And so, like, I'd say every broker says the same thing, which is, "Oh, I care about my agents, and this is for them, and blah blah." But there's two different types of brokers: the ones that actually do, and then the ones that actually don't. But when you actually do care, you have the pressure of those families on your shoulders, and it does weigh heavy
Absolutely.
because you legitimately care. It's like family. Now, if you don't care and you're a psychopath, I'm just kidding, like it really doesn't bother you because you're only there for money. But when you really care, like it's something that really bothers you. And, and I think about, I don't have kids, I don't have families. So this is like my family. So I'm always like ready to go war. Someone fights with, gets, someone messes with them. What can I do to help them? How can I make their future better? But, you made the right decision. But I think also you brought up that, like there's not a lot of revenue coming into a lot of businesses right now. Even EXP basically crushing the world and dominating still is tough. Like agents were having less coming in, and can you imagine the pressure right now some of you guys are dealing with that you can get out from under by moving into EXP? And we have all sorts of different options for you to come over here and transition over here, and benefits to do so. But you're watching that bank account struggle, you have the risk of actually going out of business, filing bankruptcy. There's much more real risk running an independent than there is, partnering with a brand like EXP. And then you're still maintaining your your brand, still your agents, still your business. And I really look at EXP as just like a system or a vehicle attached to the top of what I was already doing. And what I think brokers sometimes think is like they partner with EXP, they're going to somehow have a broker come into their chair, kick their feet up on their desk, drink their coffee, tell their agents what to do. And it's just simply not the case. It's your business, guys, and EXP is just going to amplify it and give you a vehicle to get there a lot quicker. But one of the things is that, if you were able to build any of you guys, even to 10, 15 agents, that's a big accomplishment. It doesn't seem like that when we're, probably in your mind, but that's not easy to do, especially in a market like this. But to get up to 30 plus agents as an independent in a single market that's finite and only so many agents in that market, you have massive limitations with your skill sets. So it's like we're in a global world, social media driven world. And if you have the talent to build even 10 to 20, 30 agents locally, what could you do globally if you had a bigger market share? So one of my mentors, Brian, always told me that if you can build a successful business with whatever you're doing locally, you can maybe make $1 million. Now you satellite that and expand it out and duplicate it out and move it into different markets all around the country in all states. Now you're a multi-millionaire. And if you go global with it, you're a billionaire. And all it is a relationship to understanding if you have something that works here and you can work it, how do you scale it? And a lot of us are not where we want just because of scalability issues. And when you partner with the XP overnight, you have over 2 million agents in our global population, all 50 American states, every Canadian province. Now I think we're in 24 countries now. I don't even know. We're growing so fast. But
That was the
now
number I
you have
heard
agents
last
in,
day.
yeah, and you have different. So kind of give your take on that, because locally you probably talk to the same agents, the same local offices fighting over the same agents, and now you have the world to play with, and friends, family, partners in different markets, and now you can have a real worldwide business, and it's pretty cool. And you're not even having the liability to run it when you really think about it, like you would before.
Yeah, and that's really the exciting part for me. It's kind of the blue ocean, you know.
Yeah,
As a small independent brokerage, you're fighting over, like you said, this very micro market right now. And where I was at in Vegas here, it's a very small market. You know, we have one county, so there's nothing outside of this one county. So you've got one market, one county. It's not like you can expand out. So that was a real struggle for me, because I got into it not to become another, massive brokerage with hundreds of agents. I wanted to bring in, a solid group of agents that wanted to build businesses. And so it was more of a kind of a quality over quantity as far as agents are concerned. Yes, production is everything. It's where the revenue comes from, and that's what you need as a lifeblood of your business and as a broker owner. And what I found again was that I feel like I was actually stunning my own growth after a certain period of time, because I got so bogged down in the day-to-day operations of the business that I was doing the training, I was doing the onboarding, I was doing the accounting, I was doing the everything that a broker owner needs to do. And so every time I brought on a new agent, I I think I was subconsciously actually sabotaging my growth, because I associated that with pain.
sure.
So when you associate growth with pain, obviously that's not an incentive for you to continue to grow and move forward. And so what ended up happening was I would attract a lot of the newer agents that weren't producing yet, because it was kind of the low hanging fruit. It was like those were kind of more of the easier targets. But bringing on new agents causes more pain, because they need to be trained, they need more time, they need more energy to get out there producing. So you've got all of these agents coming in, but no production coming out of it, and all of your time moving into those agents. And then
Yeah,
I started thinking about, why am I attracting new agents? Well, I'm attracting new agents, number one, because it was easier for me. And I felt like I didn't have everything that I needed to have in my small brokerage to attract some of the top producers. And so again, it was kind of that self-sabotage thing. Is like, oh, I need more training, I need more systems. And that was not the case, because I had everything that an agent needed to produce and all of the training there. It's just I didn't have the time to be able to put into it. So now it's
yeah,
like it completely changed that game again, with all the leverage that I have now, and taking all of the onboarding off my plate, taking all of the accounting, the bookkeeping, everything off my plate, the liability, every the just all aspects of that business now allows me to come in. And the quick story is that I've got agents now building their businesses, and we're looking at other markets. So we're looking at moving into other countries. And because now people have family members, or they have friends or family that where they grew up in other countries, we're looking at moving into those countries and building a business over there. And I'm building it, helping my agents build a business in another country. Like that was never
yeah,
possible as a small independent broker owner. And it's
yeah,
crazy. And as far as the accessibility on that, I jumped onto a chat with Michael Valdez, who's the chief growth operating officer for the entire company, and
yeah,
I got an answer in 5 minutes from him. So
yeah.
it's really is a culture that I've never seen before. It's pretty crazy.
I was literally just talking to Michael right before this. I called him Batman. So I said,
Yeah.
I'll call you Batman as long as I can drive the Batmobile. But he's actually coming on our private leader call tomorrow. So one of the benefits to partner with us in our organization is we do work hard to put the right people in front of you. So we're going to have our leader call tomorrow, and he's going to come on and talk about the growth of the company and all that type of stuff. But let's talk about like a growth leverage over there, because I don't think a lot of people think about that. Where as you're building your business, pretty much there's not enough money in the bank account through a traditional independent to incentivize your agents to help grow, and it creates a leverage issue. And the thing I love about EXP is it creates leverage. So now I can help Brian can help his agents, Sean, Scott, everybody can, we can all share and we can all grow together. So we're all sharing resources. The company's sharing resources. Other teams, they're competitors, but also partners at EXP, which is cool. They're sharing stuff to the company. But now when you go to sleep at night, before it was just you building the business. Now when you go to sleep at night, those same agents, when you partner with a company like EXP, let's say at 38 an agents at an independent, now you have 30 agents that could be an agent attractor if they choose to, because they all have the opportunity to build the cash flow model, the revenue share model. So now you have a lot more leverage, and they have an incentive to do it. So when they win, you win, and when you win, they win, and everybody's working together. And that's why people are way more open to share, because it's more of a team sport. And I know you're coach and you come from hockey, and I played sports a lot. And I was played a lot of team sports, and I got out of college and was really lonely. And when I got back into team building, and there's like everybody run together, it's like I brought back my sports days. But how does that compare scaling your independent in relationship to what you're doing now? You over here by yourself, and then now you have this multi-tier growth model that gives you that type of leverage.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously night and day, and for all the reasons that I just explained, it's the leverage now that it creates, in the time that creates, and also the incentive for the agents. As a small broker owner, I don't think I slept for the last 2 years. I mean, a good solid sleep, because everything was on my shoulders, and when I laid my head down at night, I it was like a beehive. My brain, I couldn't shut it off, because I'm constantly thinking about, how am I going to grow this business when every single day I go into the office, I am bogged down by operations, and I'm thrown into this and I'm thrown into that. And I'm firefighting, basically. You're putting out
Yeah.
issues on a daily basis. You're helping agents through difficult times and transactions. You're doing it all. And, being able to transition into, now it's like, now I have so much leverage with, the brokers that we have on staff here, the staff that we have, and then my partners as well. There's such a
Yeah.
value stack on top of what, EXP provides through the Wolfpack, that, I have access to your training. I have access to Mike's training. I have access to, Garth and Scott and Sean, and, everybody that's above me is providing so much value, that it's like, I have everything that I possibly need. I don't have to worry about those, all of those things that I used to worry about when I laid my head down at night, is how am I going to grow? Now it's just like, how fast are we going to grow? It's like, and it's exciting, because now I have agents bringing on agents, and they're excited about it, because they understand that's an exit strategy. That's another
Yeah.
thing that I want to talk about it too, is
Yeah.
I was looking at this from a point of like, when is this ever going to end? Like, how does this
Never.
end? As an independent broker owner, it's like, you don't have an exit. I mean, really think about it.
You got one.
If you've got it now,
Right.
if you're a broker owner that's top 1% that you figured this stuff out, then this is not for you. We're not talking about that, because you've made it to the pinnacle, and you've got it figured out, and you have a possible exit strategy. But for broker owners that are 50 agents or less that are out there struggling right now, what's the solution? Where's the end in sight? And if you're in production, you can't sleep at night, you've got all this burden of everything that's going on a day to day, and you just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, reach out to me. I've been there, I've done it, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is another solution. Maybe it's not for you today, maybe it's not for you tomorrow, but eventually it will be, because it took me probably 2 years to figure it out. And I wish I had figured it out a lot sooner, because life looks very, very different nowadays.
Yeah. Well,
And
just,
this is not an infomercial about it either. It's like, this is true. I feel kind of funny saying it like that, but it really is true. Now I kind of feel like it's my mission to go out there and meet as many broker owners as I can that were in my shoes, because I can help them. I truly can. And again, it's like, if it's not for you, that's okay. But at least that there's an option to get out of the rat race that you're in if you're miserable and you don't have an exit in sight.
Oh, for
Just
sure.
plain and simple.
And
Yeah.
and an exit strategy, guys, is not ending up in a coffin at a young age because overworking and stress. So really, when
Yeah.
you really think about it, like, what are your options when you exit? You either sell the business if you can, but usually you can't get anywhere close to the dollars that you want for it, and you spend more time and stress trying to do it and sell it, and you can't even sell it. So what happens is usually option two, which is they just say, I'm going to dissolve it. It's not worth the headache, and just, I'm shutting down shop. You guys poof, and like pigeons fly away, go wherever you want. But either one of those options, let's say like you sold it or you dissolved it, and then like 2 years later you decide you want to get back in the game, you have to start from zero. And usually when people retire, they're not retiring from their income stream, they're retiring from the stress and time of it. And so EXP's created an incredible option, which is like a third option for retirement, which is, let's say you come over here as a broker, you come over here, you bring your organization over, and if you come on call, we can explain in more detail how this works. Let's say Bryan sponsors you and you bring your agents in. What if you want to retire your time and stress from the business and you want to go with your grandkids? You've already been doing this for 34 years, travel the world. Well, your business is still here. Now, I cannot promise you that we're going to grow your business. I can't do that. But what I can do is promise you that we'll grow it the way that we've been working with our partners to get to here. And we are now the number 2 net growth organization globally for 2023 in the world out of almost 90,000 agents. So if you want to grow fast, partner with a team that grows fast, and you're going to have a likelihood. But let's say Bryan retires, goes 6-12 months, realizes he's not as old as he thought he was, realizes he's still an entrepreneur, a tiger, wants to get back in and run. He's still holding that position here. He can just hop right back in. His team's still here. His partners above and around him are still working. They're all still chasing their goals. So this is an option for you to retire from the stuff you want to get away from, but not your income stream, and still have a foot in the door if you want to come back at any time. It's really quite incredible when you really start thinking of how much EXP has to offer. And I think a lot of people, Bryan, just like myself, took 2 years to come in. I just had bad information from a little bit newer agents in the company. It wasn't anything really negative towards them. They didn't have the communication ability or the seasoning in the business. They didn't understand what they had. They thought they had a little squirt gun that they were selling with emotion, instead of trying to explain with real facts, data, logic, numbers, business surety, that they have a rocket launcher if used correctly. And it's just like any tool. Some people can build a house with a hammer. Some people will never pick up a hammer, but they all have the same tool. And so it is an interesting thing when it comes to exit. But also want to touch on one thing that you said before, like bringing in newer agents. Here, a lot of the biggest teams I've seen come in were personal relationships. So like in your previous independent, you're bringing new agent after new agent after new agent. It's a complete time expense on your side and expense. And if they're not bringing revenue to the company, you may have to ask them to leave. You're losing money. Where here, let's say an agent comes over and you don't have time to support them. Well, they have all these icon agents the company trained. They got all these tools and resources. You don't feel the pressure. And then because we have an override tiered model, 7 tiers deep, like a lot of big companies have these tiered growth models. Let's say John Smith's mother, sister, best friend is a huge broker in Europe somewhere or in Australia. They can make that connection. And I've seen all sorts of times where, brand new agents come in because of people know people, and it leads to a huge play later. So it creates a lot more opportunity for people to invest in their partners, and also not look so unfavorably if someone that's like eating up all their time. And they're not going to get that attitude from the broker either, which is very hard to control, which when they ask for help and you're frustrated, because here they still have a good environment to stay in, even if they're taking their time to kind of get their business legs underneath them, essentially. But and I said a lot there. You want to add anything that, or you want to go into a different topic?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to go back to what you were talking about with, no other options, as far as, shutting it down. That, to me, that was like, it was not even an option for me. So it was really kind of this thing is like, okay, I just have to work harder, and when I went in and worked harder, all I did was burn myself out faster. And so it was this kind of cycle of, I need to work harder because I need this to be successful, because this is my dream. This is what I got into this for. And this is why I'm building this. So there is no other option. But at the same time, it was like, I can't keep going on the way that it's going on. And so this was like this tug and pull for me. And I know that there's other people out there right now that are feeling the exact same way. And it was like, this is impossible. This is an impossible battle. And I don't know how to change it other than working harder. And that wasn't cutting it, because you only have so many hours in a day. And so, just having the knowledge, like you said, I knew EXP existed for years. Like, I had people coming to me, 5 years ago with, hey, bring your brokerage over to EXP. And I'm like, get out of here with that stuff. I really did. I was turned
Yeah.
off by it, and I was turned
Oh,
off by EXP agents because I'm like, all I hear
sure.
is just,
You know,
there was no value in it, and there was no explanation as to actually how it would benefit me and how it would benefit my agents and what the future looked like. And then when I met you guys and you guys broke it down for me, on a one-on-one basis, like, give me your numbers of what your brokerage is right now. Like, let's really dive deep into your business and talk about what it looks like today and what it potentially looks like a year or 5 years from now. And then we'll do a comparison of what we have here as far as, with the Wolfpack and with EXP, and what that looks like a year from now, what that looks like 5 years from now. And when I saw that, and when I saw that comparison, a light bulb just clicked in my head, and I said, this is it. Like that, all of a sudden the light at the end of the tunnel showed up, and I'm like, this is it. But
yeah,
how do I get rid of my brokerage? Like, this is, so it took me 6 months to make that decision once I had that, because I was just going back and forth going, I can't get rid of my baby. Like, this was my dream. This is what I was building. And then what about my agents? Are they going to come with me? Are they going to leave me? What kind of opportunity do they have? And, so that decision weighs heavily on a broker owner, because you have to consider that option, and then
yeah,
once I realized it, and then I decided to say, okay, I'm going to make the jump. And because I know this is what's right for me, and I know this is what's right for my agents. Now, if they don't understand it, it's my job to be able to explain it to them properly so that they see the same thing that I see about what the future holds. And I know
that's right.
once they understand that, then they'll come with me. And so that was a very, very difficult situation for me, because I have to announce to all of my agents that we're shutting down the brokerage and we're converting to this new business model, which is EXP, which is everybody has heard of by now. But then I
Yeah.
had to explain it in a way that they understood it and they were on board. And boy, was I surprised, not surprised. I was pleasantly surprised, I guess, when I had almost 100% participation from my agents. The
Yeah.
only agents, I think I lost a handful of agents. The only ones I lost were the ones that were, non-active, non-producing agents that weren't willing to jump into a different business model.
Yeah.
Okay, cut the fat, jump in, and now everybody understands it. Now we're all building together. So it really, truly is one of the best business models I've seen. And I've built and exited many businesses inside and outside of real estate. Once you really understand it and what it could do for you, and what it could do for your future and your agents, it's going to be hard not to at least take a look at it, as an option.
Well, I'm Brown knows you a little bit and give you some kudos on that, because your transition conversion was the highest I've seen anybody come over. Meaning you brought pretty much everybody. I mean, usually you're going to have some type of attrition when you move any business or anything like that. And like you said, usually it's kind of the ones that are kind of already kind of checking out. But to bring as many over as you
Right.
did, that's a testimonial for your great leadership and that they trusted you. Now, I mean, think about this. Like, I tell brokers all the time. So this is my sixth, going on seventh year. So we have almost 3,200 agents. I started as a solo agent with this business model. We're going to sell, probably can't say all the numbers yet. The final publicly traded numbers haven't come out yet, but I can tell you we sold a 5-figure amount. That's right. Well over 10,000 houses this year. We'll figure out when it comes out. I didn't see a piece of paperwork for the most part. I didn't have to review any contracts. I didn't carry any risk or liability. I didn't have to do any like late night accounting. I had no CPA bill. For my other businesses, I wrote a $20,000 CPA bill legitimately. Just like I didn't have that. Don't have to worry about at the end of the year 1099s like messing up and get myself in trouble and trying to get things out, not rushing into the year when I'm already stressed out and busy, trying to get that type of stuff out. I get a single 1099 in. All sorts of trainings provided for the agents, all sorts of gaps in the business and leaks in the business I would have otherwise already handled for me. And legitimately, since I don't do personal production, my entire expense to have this global business that operates in all 50 states, every Canadian province, countries all around the world, I pay EXP $85 a month, actually $90 a month now, or whatever it is, like the tax, like $90 or something a month, guys, to have this all done for me, no CPA bill. And you can't even start a taco truck. You can't start, like, I don't know if you can do anything for $90 a month. That's literally barely over
That's
$1,000 a year I
crazy.
pay the company, and they pay me a lot of money for doing so, and they reward us for doing a great job, and we reward the company as well. So it's a massive mutual exchange in abundance. And I just don't think people ever get a chance to sit down with people that can really verbally communicate to them the value. And then when they do, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Now I get it. Now I get why everybody's so excited, because they get a lot of people coming to them with feelings and emotion. You got to come to EXP. And they're like, well, why? I don't know. You just got to do it. It's the greatest. Why? I don't know. But then when they sit down and say, well, here's the math. So I think a lot of, if you're here at this point in this podcast and you want to run the numbers and have that kind of real high level conversation, or even get in front of our corporate team that can show you some of the things they can do to help you transition over, just reach out to Bryan for sure. But let's talk about that as far as like the coaching, training, and all that. Like, what did you do? So you said you were scouring the world trying to find coaches to come on and get in front of your agents, but then that's an expense to you. How are, give me an idea of like tools, resources, training. How is that comparison to as an independent, looking at that liability intensive versus like kind of how it is here at the XP, and how much more you can provide?
It's as an independent, for me, it was like, I always tried to better myself because I knew that I was a reflection of my brokerage and my agents.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking at self-development and improvement on a daily basis. But also, like I said, in order to attract agents, I not only had to have those leadership skills and qualities, but I also had to have the systems, the training, the staff, all of that stuff in order to attract agents into my business. And I never thought it was good enough ever. So I was this constant push of like, I need more, I need more, I need more. And yet in all reality is how many agents actually go through that stuff and actually use it to the best of its ability. Not a lot, unfortunately. That's just the nature of the business. You've got your top 20% of your agents that are going to do all of your production. And so, I would go out and purchase training and hire mentors and hire coaches and fly off and do retreats and, all these things, and continue to up my game and better my business. And just to have 20% take advantage of that, it's hard, And so sometimes you felt like you wanted it more than most of the people wanted it for themselves. And so it was like I spent all of my time on the agents that weren't producing and trying to get them producing, instead of figuring out the leverage and figuring out the systems that can now go out and find more of those 20% agents that are going to produce at a higher level, that want to be there, that now
Right.
want to, receive that training and information, go out and implement it, and then build together. And so that's the big difference for me now. It's like I have partners. It's not me, the top dog, benefiting from the growth of the company, because what can you truly incentivize your agents as an independent broker to bring on new agents and grow the company? You can't provide stock options. You can't give them rev share. You can't, I was saying, I'll give you 3 months free, tech fees if you bring on an agent. How many agents are excited about that? And I don't know what kind of, incentive programs other small broker owners have, but it's like, I guarantee you it's nothing like what I have now, because now I have agents bringing on other agents, and we're doing weekly masterminds on attracting agents and having these conversations with other agents to help them. It's not like we're trying to bring somebody into something that we're only benefiting from. It's like me as an independent broker owner, I want to get this word out to as many people as I can, because I know that there's so many people that are struggling out there like me. And if they can have this solution, they can not only change their lives, but they can change the lives of their agents. And I'm seeing it happening before me in front of my eyes. It's like I dug my heels in for a very, very long time. And now it's just wheels on, let's go. And my agents are on board with that. And it's a very, very good feeling.
Yep. The reason why I didn't come over soon is we all do that. I think it's an ego issue. I had an ego. I wanted to stay in one spot and figure I could just do it on my own. I was like, that's stupid. My ego is getting to be pretty expensive, and let's just get past it right now, basically. But
Right.
it is. Let's run together, win together. But think about this right now. If you guys do have a growth model where you're incentivizing, I've seen all sorts of different stuff out there. Brokers all have their own way of doing things, but I've seen where they one-time fee $500, give an agent $1,000 or $50 every time they sell a house, or lots of different things out there. But you're paying that out of your bank account. You're literally, and you have all the risk. And if you go out of business, it's your family that suffers. Now, on the flip side, you move your business to EXP, you get all these partners, coaching systems, all this. And then as agents are in your business, those are your partners, EXP pays them. So can you imagine someone else incentivizing your partners and paying them out of their bank account, not yours, to grow your business? And that's what we have here essentially. And when your partners have them and when your partners receive that payment, their life is actually bettering. They're actually improving their life. It really is important for people to at least have a full fundamental understanding of the opportunity here, and then say no. Don't just say no because you talked to 2 or 3 people, because I talked to like 20, and it was very tough to even turn the attention and focus back to the model. But what happened for me was I was kind of forced by God. I say it because I was speaking at an event in Mississippi, and the number one leader of the company was speaking at the same event. And I got put into a speaker's property, kind of like an Airbnb. And so that's the only thing that made me turn the cheek to it. It gives me chills to think about, because I probably would never be here. And it's radically changed my life forever. And I'm going to use this opportunity to change others' lives legitimately. That's not cliche, guys. Like, we're talking reality here.
Yeah.
And not everybody needs a big income to be happy. There's a lot of people here that can just get to couple $1,000 a month in rev share, take the pressure off. And then there's lots of people coming over here crushing with production. You don't have to build a team, but today's call is obviously about brokers and things like that. But now,
Yeah.
what about just like overall fun?
You,
Or go ahead, and we'll talk about some of the stuff we do.
but yeah, I just wanted to speak on that ego issue. You talk about ego, and I don't think I ever had like the big ego issue. It was more of like, I feel like I've accomplished a lot in real estate, and I kind of felt like I made it to a certain status with some of the things that I did, and I was like, I have a lot to give and to give back, and but what now? The partners that I have in this business, you guys are doing things way bigger than I've ever done, and now that's part of my business model now too. It's like now
Yeah.
it just increases the value of what we do by tenfold tremendously. It's like
Yeah.
I thought I had a lot to give, but now there's so much more to give, and it doesn't have to come from just me. They're just
Yeah.
plugging into these systems now, and that's the kind of the freeing feeling of realizing that I really did make the right decision, because everybody wins in this scenario. So it's
Yeah.
really cool to see that transition and that progression.
It's just your DNA and your nature, because you're already. So we didn't. Maybe we should mention this earlier. So Brian's a hockey coach, so he also coaches hockey. So usually when you see teachers or coaches or leaders, people come from military. There's all sorts of different mindsets and brain types that are attracted to a business model like this. But it does make our job a lot easier to do what we're trying to do, which is succeed ourselves and have others fall behind us. But I'm not sure you probably had a lot of fun like at your brokerage like you did now. Like, think about let's talk about some of this fun stuff. So you got to come to EXPCon. Maybe give your take on that, and I'm hoping to see you at EXPCon stage someday here soon. And so we had the big party at the end. Glenn spent millions of dollars to throw a party for the agents. Just to give you an idea, some brokers aren't even profitable, and we're doing so well over here. Our founder is so unselfish that he's willing to fund it, rent out nightclubs. What was that place called? I forget, but it was like the number one nightclub or something in Vegas.
Yeah.
They ran the whole place out, and I know you were there. And like right when I walked in, I was like, "Oh, what's up, Brian?" And then we also went to maybe want to talk about private dinner that we had together. And so these are experiences that are very difficult to achieve as an individual, but you can have life experiences that you could never have otherwise. So maybe give your take on some of the things that you've had that are fun to do. And it's just the beginning, because every year we do cool stuff. We are going to be finalizing, even though we haven't picked the date yet, we are going to be doing a Wolfpack cruise this year. And that's going to be something. And so we're always trying to find cool things that we can have new life experiences together that just traditionally didn't exist before. I mean, we're always doing fitness challenges. It's not just real estate, guys. We're here to have the best life for ourselves and our family and our partners. And you should definitely take time to at least look behind the scenes and see what we're doing here. But maybe give your take on some of the stuff you've experienced and will experience going forward.
Yeah, I got lucky, Connor, because I don't remember. I think EXPCon was in October, right? And I came on, I basically August, September, I was making the transition from July all the way till basically October. And I got lucky that EXPCon was, right as soon as I came on, because I got to experience that. And that was something that was just the craziest thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When we got to EXPCon, just meeting everybody in person for the first time was great. But and then the private dinners that we had with the individual groups in the Wolfpack, it was like, this is unbelievable for me to do this as an independent broker owner. And I did that stuff. Team building events is so important with your agents and with your group or your tribe or whatever you want to call it. it's extremely important because it brings everybody together. It's a place where you can
Yeah.
go and hang out and not necessarily talk about work and training and building and all the things that we do on a daily basis. And those are so important. But as a broker owner, I had to flip the bill for that. I've taken my agents to Golden Knights game before. I mean that's a couple $1,000s out of my pocket. That doesn't necessarily always
Yeah.
make sense, but you have to do it. And now with all of the events that we have, it doesn't come out of my pocket anymore. Number one.
Yep.
Number two, I've reduced my monthly expenses by at least 90%. Like there's no more expenses there on a monthly basis. So if I want to do something with my group, with my team, now I can do those things and not feel the burden of that. And I think that's where, when I went to EXPCon and I saw all of the amazing things that people are doing for their groups, it was like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to be doing. And so the
Yeah.
incentive there to continue to grow and build was just like, this is it. This is fun, man. We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun together too. So it was good. I'm looking forward to the next one
Yeah,
in Florida.
everybody's already looking for Miami. So yeah, so like just some of the things over the past few years, guys, the EXP has done for the agents. At the past EXP cons, they ran. I think it was Omnia Club that we went to this last time, and then they've rented out Dre's Nightclub before. Glenn rented out.
Oh yeah, let me jump in really quickly. That I've meant to mention this. Going to Omnia with it was a private event for all EXP agents and staff. And when I walked into this nightclub, and this is one of the biggest nightclubs in Vegas. It's massive. It was
Yeah.
packed wall to wall with EXP agents and staff, and everyone was having an amazing time. Like, this is incredible. I'm looking around and the entire place is dancing around. And then at one point, everybody started chanting EXP, and I'm like, what kind of cult am I involved in right now? But it was like a good thing, It was just weird.
Yeah.
It was like, I have never seen an environment like this before. It is such an incredible environment. It got me really fired up. So it was really good to have that at the very beginning of my transition over, because it just fueled my fire even more.
Oh, for sure. And if you guys want to come to EXPCon with
Yeah.
us, that's one of the things that we do. You guys can come hang out with us and say, is this the real deal? And you may not ever want to leave because, yeah, I've experienced things I've never would have thought. So like, I think it was shareholders. Glenn Sanford, our founder of EXP. None of this would be possible without you, Glenn. So thank you. He rented out Universal Studios. And like you guys know, like in Florida, like Disney World, Universal Studios, he rented out the entire thing for EXP agents for an entire night. So we could just, no waiting in lines. We're running around the park, just going in and riding the rides. I mean, I think he spent millions of dollars to do that, like for a single night. You don't hear that baller type of stuff anywhere. I would not even hear that in insurance anywhere that happens. That's unheard of, right? And these are experiences that we get here at this company that you couldn't get any other place. And then, we went to that really nice dinner. And this is why you got to stand your ground, guys, because Brian and everybody was peer pressuring me. I tried like 3 or 4 different types of food that night that I would never had. I had like bone marrow. I guess it's a thing. And then they forced me to eat a beef tongue. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And everybody's peer pressuring me. And I was just like, I don't want to do it.
You did it.
Well, y'all didn't see. I turned the corner when everybody cheered over there. I put it in my napkin. So I didn't take it.
There's no way I was doing that. I saw the texture of that thing. I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm doing that, man.
It was disgusting. I'm sure I just like, I always had like a thing about that. Like when I was little, my dad was like Thanksgiving and he was cooking giblet gravy, I guess they call it. And I was like, what's giblet gravy? And my dad was like, it's like the hearts and the tongue. And I just remember like traumatized at that moment. So I've never been into that. If you're into that, I'm not judging. I'm sure it's great, but yeah, anyway, so you just get to try lots of different things. And even if you don't want to try them, you're going to get peer pressured into trying it. So maybe we should peer pressure you guys a little bit into trying EXP once. You may like it. So, but is there anything else you want to kind of go into today? I mean, we've talked covered a lot of different things, risk mitigation, capital avoidance, liability risk, and things like that. And then just culture. Anything else that you want to kind of share your experience here, or that you'd say to these brokers if they made it to this point?
Yeah, I just encourage anybody to reach out to me just to ask questions. Like, I really did. I dug my heels in forever, and I wish I hadn't. And I know that there's a lot of people in my situation that could use, excuse me, the leverage in the business model that we have now, and the future growth and all of the opportunities for themselves and for their agents. And just explore it. right? You know what I mean? It's like, there's no pressure. There's no, it's like, I'm not trying to talk anybody into anything. I just want to show you what the solution can be if you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel now. Because
Yep.
like you said earlier, Connor, it's like, what is your exit? Like you don't have one, because if you try to sell your business as a small independent broker, you're not going to get the money that you need for it. And even if you do, you get to a certain volume level where you look appealing to a national franchise or even a larger brokerage. You're going to have to end up staying on for the next 3 to 5 years and have all these stipulations
Sure.
of growth, and they're going to pay you a salary. And it's like, if you're there and running the business, what's the benefit of selling it? So
That's right.
all of these exit strategies that I've looked at in the past, because I started thinking about, okay, what is my exit strategy? And then I quickly realized that there isn't one. Like,
Yeah.
I'm either going to do this forever, or I'm going to try to grow it to a point where it's, where I could sell it off, but then that's not even an option. So again, it's like, look at what this is going to be like. If you're digging your heels in and you don't see that exit, just explore the option, because there is a better way. There's a better
Yep.
way. And I found it. And now I feel like I need to get that message out there. I really do.
Yep. I think a lot of brokers would understand what you said there, but I'm sure there's a lot of single sales agents and people that made to this point. You want to kind of elaborate on that last little point where you don't just sell the brokerage and get your check and move on. Like there's performance requirements many times where you have to stay on and still basically work at your old business. So you want to explain that so that, I mean, the brokers get it, and that's a big selling point to them. But for someone that may not understand that, it's important to understand that it's you still tied to it. And then if agents leave, your deal goes down. Like you can actually have it may actually kill the whole thing, right?
Well, you think about it from an investor standpoint. You have an investor that says, okay, you built this brokerage up to a certain level where you have this X amount of market share, you have X amount of transactions on an annual basis, and your revenue is X. We're buying that, but we're also buying you, because as an independent brokerage, basically this brokerage is you. And if we come in and purchase this brokerage and now somebody else is the face of this brokerage, it's no longer that same brokerage. And so you're going to get agents leaving. You're going to get, attrition to a, massive level, basically, especially if it's a big culture change, or it's a big change in management and systems and things that are changing. Agents, sometimes they're not going to take kindly to that, and they're going to go find something else.
Yeah.
So as an investor going in to buy an independent brokerage, you want to make sure that the face of that brokerage is going to be around for a while, so that you can make that slow transition into the new systems, into the new management, and make sure you're retaining agents and you're retaining the production level, so that you're basically protecting your investment into that brokerage. So
Yeah.
you're basically now growing the brokerage for somebody else. Like, you're making sure that it's going to be profitable and successful, and then you hand it over to somebody else. And you're like, man, I should have just kept it if I could get it to this point. Why am I exiting? And now you're exiting at a point where the brokerage is even more successful than it was when you came on.
And it's like
It's
almost
not an
like
exit.
you're penalized for being the better you are at what you do, the more you're punished. Because let's say you made a high transition conversion, meaning most of your agents came, means they respect you and they stay with you. But let's say you're a horrible broker and like you would have moved over in zero to come with you. That means you didn't have a close relationship. So when that new investor buys it, they know that you're the center of this, because if you go, that whole agent count goes, because they're staying there because of you. So the better you are as a leader, and the better you were as the broker before, you're actually like, it's like de-incentivizing you to want to do it that way when you really think about it, because they need you there more, because there's a high risk for them. Yeah, it's crazy when you really think about it.
Thank you for pointing that out too, Connor. Sorry to interrupt you, but thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that, because I have worked very hard at my relationships with my agents, and my background in coaching. And I coach youth hockey, I coach adults, and I've been doing it for pretty much the past 15 years. And it really is, what it boils down to me is like, that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, and now it's allowing me to do even more of that. And it really is very special to me. And having, by the way, I believed in this business model so much that I was willing to jump whether 0 agents came or 35 agents came.
That's right.
That's how much I believed in it. It's like, I am 100% committed to this, and I'm 100% like, I know that this is the future, and this is the way that I can help as many people as I possibly can. And in turn, I win. Like, let's not beat around the bush. It's like, I'm doing this to create success for myself, but I do that now through other people. And there's no better place to do that. So when I realized that, I said, I'm going to make this jump now, whether any of you come or whether none of you come or all of you come, but I want every one of you to come with me. And they did. And that was a
Yeah.
very reassuring feeling, yeah, we've got something special here.
Yeah. And
And now it's like, now we can just even go even bigger, better.
And that's scary because it's like, what if they all say no, and you made that decision, and that's really the right mindset to make that decision. If you guys, you're a broker and you come over and work with us, have a convicted belief that you're doing this no matter what pushback, because I've seen people kind of go back to their team and kind of waffle. Hey guys, like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this, but if that leader's not convicted, those agents aren't going to come over. And if they do, they're not coming over ready to crush it and ready with momentum, So that's the right mentality. I've seen lots of different ways people moved over, and the ones that do that, which is like, I made up this decision. Whether anybody's coming without me, I will rebuild. And if you can build a business once, you can build anything again. It's just a matter of, do you want to put the time into it? But yeah, I mean, I had a really good time today,
especially with a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I could build this as an independent broker, and with the tools and everything that I had and being all on my shoulders, and now with the leverage of the systems and the training and the value stack and everything that I have and all of the incentives that the agents have to build,
boards, rev share,
it's game over now. So again, that solidified my decision also.
Well, man, I'm gonna let you go, brother. I had fun on the podcast today. It's one of the fun ones I did here recently. Not bashing anybody else, but we had a little bit more fun on this one. Other ones we were more in like high level, like marketing and stuff like that. So it's not as fun, but this one was a fun call. But I want to make sure to have you guys reach out to Bryan. We're going to put his contact information below. You can also find him on Instagram or reach out to him. So if you want to have that conversation, look at numbers, or really go into some of the things that he's seen behind the scenes, make sure to do so. Remember, we have events all around the world every year. You're more than welcome to come out to these events, experience some of the stuff that we talk about. We'll get you out there. We'll fly you out there, hang out with us, and get to know us and all that type of stuff. But man, appreciate you. I'm going to get this out there. And next year at XPCon Miami, don't peer pressure me into eating anything I don't want to eat. Just kidding. But other than that, guys, you guys have a good day.
It'll happen.
Of course.
Appreciate it, Connor. Thanks so much.
All right, guys, have a good one.